Welcome to another unscripted but practiced how to DIY from Scare Hollow. I didn't even practice that part. What we're going to make today is we're going to make this coffin. And it's completely out of fence boards. So, if you can find probably, I did not count how many fence boards I grabbed. I would probably, if you were to grab probably 20, so maybe 2 panels if they did 10 per panel or whatever, 10 pieces. I don't know, grab 20, 25 pieces of 1x6s. So if you want to make a couple of these, just find somebody after a storm that's had some old fencing that's been knocked down and see if you can take it away from them, or drive around your neighborhood after a big storm, like a week or so after when they've put their fence panels out on the front lawn to be taken away. But also you could post on your local Facebook groups or marketplace, Craigslist, things like that. Somebody's already dinging me. Stop dinging me. But the idea behind this build is that it's free. I already made the other one. It's right here. I'm not going to show you because I don't want to move this whole setup. But I already made one, and I didn't spend a dime. I made it, and I didn't spend a dime. Now, granted, I already had some of the stuff. I hope as a haunter you have that stuff too. Here's the materials list. And obviously some of that is going to be up to you. I have the skeleton there. I got the creepy cloth, the back piece of black fabric, and if you want to use screws instead of the nail gun, things like that. The nail gun is going to be much easier to do around the edges and everything, and to put this already has nails in it. One of the things that I'll show you as we go is that the top will need to have like a 2x4 on it, only because that's where the customization comes in, is when you break the section of it out, like up here, when you break that out so that the skeleton can see out, that's where you're going to need some strength. I'm going to leave it up to you how you break that out. I took a jigsaw afterwards and I cut a little bit of it, and then I started breaking it. You could probably use like a flathead screwdriver and then a hammer. You can use the back end of a hammer and just chisel away at it. You're just going to need to maybe put some pieces back when you're done, because you might knock them off. But if you put a piece of 2x4 over this section, then it will hold this together a lot more. So you can break it out. The other thing you can do is if you're really good with angles. I'm not. I didn't want to do any math on this. I just wanted to eyeball everything. So I'm going to do it in that vein. But if you want to do all the angles on this to make, how you have the top section goes this way and then the other section goes that way. If you want to do the angles on that, then you could probably pre-cut these boards so that you have the angle, so that you have the lid in the already coffin shape. I did not do that. I just put it on there. I screwed it onto the thing, and then I cut along the top with the jigsaw, and then I flipped it over and did it the other way. It gives it a little more rough appearance. I would probably rough up the edges a little bit of that, but because it is nice, clean cut. But nobody's really going to see it anyways. You could probably add some stain to it or dry brush over that clean cut to cover that up if you really care. But I was trying to make this as least amount of math and measuring as possible. So I already did all the measuring of the boards for you, and I've already cut them. So we're going to skip all that crap. So I've already cut all the boards that I need for this. I think the only thing I didn't put on that materials list, that I may have after I edited this video together, is that if you're going to use the nail gun, you're going to need air compressor. We all probably have that air compressor. If not, then you may want to use actual nails and a hammer. But a nail gun with staples is going to be best. I use staples. I don't use nails, only because you have 2 points going in and you have something to hold it in. and to me, it's, I don't know, cleaner, nicer looking. You never see the head of the nail, or the hole. So what I've already done, and I'm going to hopefully do this. I have my fans on me because I have to have my fans on me because it is hot. So the first step is you want to cut all of your wood. You're going to need, as it's showed in there, you're going to need 8 pieces of these. These are 4 feet wide or 4 feet long. And so arrange them out, make sure they're all nice and straight. Ish. I mean, it is an old ass coffin, so it doesn't have to be totally straight, but you do need to make sure that these 2 middle boards are as straight as possible because they will attach to the top and bottom of your coffin. Otherwise, the rest you could, they could be off centered or whatever. So what I did, and I'm going to do this as I build it, so I may do some narration points at the end after this, but we need all of our wood that I cut. How's the wood? I cut lots of wood. Lots and lots of wood. That's for the LED. Where's my uprights? Oh, my uprights are over here. Obviously to save money. Once again, this was all for free. I went along and they had, the 2x4s for the fence. I cut them up, and then because I wanted them 2x2s, I just went and cut the 2x4s down the middle. If you have them the length that I have in the materials list, I think they're, I don't know. What's it say? I don't know. Anyways, you can refer to the materials list for the size of the 2x4 uprights, or the 2x2s. Is that you can cut this with a sliding chop saw or a miter saw from Harbor Freight without having to push it through or anything like that. You can actually set it on there, set that sliding thing on there, and go back. Or you can go get some 2x2s. 2x2s are pretty cheap. You could probably get, to make 2 of these, you could probably do it out of one 2x2, one 10-foot 2x2. I think they're 8 foot, so yeah, you probably need 2 of them. But if you get the 2x4s from the fence panel, most fence panels have 2. There you go. You have everything you need. So what I did was I placed my first one where I thought about the middle. You want, obviously, the longer piece needs to go down here to the bottom, and then the shorter piece goes up here to the top to make your angles. These are my 16 inches for the other lid. That's the top. That's the bottom. So we're going to do that. Okay. I got 4 of these. So one of the things you can look at is when you look at your fence board, make sure like this, where the 2x4 was, make sure it's on the inside of your coffin. Just so, uniformity to a point. You don't want those weird little pieces because you don't want this to look like it came from a fence. As you can tell right here, I've got all of these pieces right here. These all 3 have the 2x4 faded parts or whatever. So what I did was I took. Sorry, I don't know what these are for. What did I mark on these? I marked them. Only 3 of them. I don't know why I marked those. I don't know what those are for. Anyways, I'm sure they're for something. I'll find out later. So one of the things that I did was, if you find a fence board like this that has this notched top, make one of your bottom boards that be the end of it, because you're going to need. Let's do this way. You're going to need to put wires through this to get your light inside. So what I did was, that's a little weird, is I made sure that one of these had that notch in there so then I can shove the LED through with the wires and everything. Kind of confused. So when you make this, you're going to need to the top piece will actually fit into, on the very top edge of your coffin. And what I would recommend is setting these things up before you do all of the stapling. Okay, so once you have you have all these uprights, you got all your pieces out here. What I would do is I would take all your pieces and kind of lay them out so you know where they are all going, because this is going to be two layers. You're going to have one layer and then another layer on top. So you're going to have your bottom pieces and your top pieces. But I would just do one of each on there so that you're not. I now know what these were for. So that you're not doing all sorts of crazy stuff with the second layer. You only want to do your first layer there. You got your two on the bottom there. So we'll take, because these are two. There we go. All right. Take a tape measure away because I double measured what I was looking at. So when you look at, and I'm hoping you can see this on there, when you take your piece on the top and the bottom, it actually will sit flush with the top of the coffin. Or the top of the boards. So it'll be the very end of the 4 feet. So that's why your boards that are doing the angles will not actually go to the end of the 4-foot board. Hey. Yeah, so what you'll do is you'll take your board is going to sit inside like that. There you go. So your sideboards are not going to go on this side. They're going to go up underneath the top. So, and don't worry about where it is, where this is right here. Don't worry about that yet, because you're gonna move it once you've put in your nails over here and stuff like that. So, what I did was I started at the middle section here, and I took the board and I kind of just eyeballed where I knew. Let's get this out of the way. Where I knew the 10 and a half inch. There's the puppies. 10 and a half inch was going to be, and then you just kind of. Again, just eyeball it there. And then you want this board to go about halfway into the 2x2. Then take your gun. Bam. Okay. So, and as you go around, you're going to have a lot more structure with it. So what I would do is, now that you have that, you can now take the front board or the top and go a little bit of an angle. I'm going to turn on the air compressor, so I'll mute that part of the thing. So before I mute that, so you're going to go all the way around. And you're going to do this to all the sides. You're going to take your 2x2 sections, and you're going to put them up in the corners, and you're going to staple all around the edges here. So I'm going to do that, and that's going to make noise. So I'm going to put some music to this. So as you can tell, they're about halfway in between, and the board is not going to fully touch. So what I do is I make sure that the bases and the top, the 2x4 is flush with the bottom and the top, and then it's got a little bit of an angle on the sides. So now you have your shape. You have your cool coffin shape now. Then just lay in it. It's awesome. This is actually measured out. Why I did the 4 pieces side by side. So you have these are 5.5. They're not 6 inches. So you got 5.5. You got 11, 10, 11. So you got 22 inches across. The shoulder width of the 5-foot plastic skeletons is. Mine is missing another arm, so I went with, it's about 13 inches. So if you add another arm, another shoulder bit in there, you got 15 to 16 inches. So if you're making this a little bit different dimensions, just measure the width of your skeleton, the width of the shoulders of the skeleton, so that you have enough room in this section for the skeleton to go. Obviously, you can move the skeleton down a little further. You will be removing his legs, so it's just the torso and the head and the arms. If you want to remove both the arms, like on the one that I showed in the picture, he's got one arm. That arm is actually, it's like he broke out and he's trying to grab the top. So I'm actually going to melt the hands a little bit and have them grab the actual top of the wood to hold it, to make it look like he's trying to pull himself out of the coffin. Now that you have your shape and everything, you can kind of place it, make sure that it fits. Because if you start going in and putting another layer on, now you're going to add a lot more weight to it and stuff like that. So just double check that it's all generally where it's going to be, and then grab your rest of your pieces. You've got another top piece here, and like I said, double check to see where the 2x4 marks were, and any wear marks, so that you can hide those. Obviously, the bottom doesn't matter that much, but so then just go along and start putting around the next layer here. As you can tell, you're like, well, how are we supposed to attach the bottom if it's like that? Well, you're going to flip it over after you make top. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your workspace here, and you're going to line all the boards up, and you're going to take, this is just for bracing while you're doing this, to keep these together. Take your staple gun here. There. So this is just to keep this together. So once that's done, flip it over. Make sure you pick which side's going to be your top there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put that 2x4 under there, and you're going to center it as best you can in there. Center it this way, not that way. And if you want to do the measuring, that's fine too. You can measure this one from the bottom up, and you can say, okay, the middle of it is 26 inches up. So you can sit here and go, okay, 26 inches up is going to be right here. So that's basically where I put the board. Without even, the board is right here. Yeah. Dead center. That's cool. Make sure it's straight-ish. And then take some screws, find your screw gun, because that's always missing. And then you know that it's 26 inches. So you want to go right there. I'll put that one right there. You're basically going to screw each one down to that 2x4. So all that does is it helps with the rigidity of this when you break it apart. So at this point, you can you're going to have to take that one off, especially. You could actually leave this one on for right now. We're going to cut it. I forgot. Where's my hammer? Hey, never put your stuff where... Oh, there it is. So, we're now going to bring the coffin back up here, and we're going to put the top down first. And so why I'm doing that is because I could probably have measured this a little bit better. I still would get a little piece, a little broken off piece, and nail that, or just put a little screw gun in there. No, not a screw gun, but those staples. Where's my scraps are down there? Always keep your scraps. So I'm gonna put this back. Centered as best you can. That's good. We got a good solid thing in there. Now I'm gonna take my staple gun, use whatever I've got left. So yeah, it's just a good idea to add a strap piece so that it looks like this. So you have your main brace there and you got your bottom brace there. And you can do it on the top of your back piece if you want to put another one up here. That's up to you. You're not going to do anything to the back piece, so it doesn't really need it. But the reason I did this with the top being down is because when I cut these, if you want to do the exact measurements to get these 2x2s flush with both ends, go ahead. It looks like it's probably going to be 10 3/4 instead of 10.5 inches or whatever I made these on the materials list there. But I'm going to put the top because I'm actually going to screw the top into these 2x2s. You can do it on the back piece too, but they're inset a little bit, so you're not going to have a flush mount in there, but it still should be fine. So now we're going to take, it keeps moving. I don't know. Maybe that is how we're going to do it. Okay, cool. So I made a little mistake. I had to rip off the back because I didn't put the ramp for the skeleton. Now, the ramp is optional. The reason I put a ramp in there is to make the skeleton appear to be coming out of the thing, out of the coffin. If you just want him to lay down in it, then you don't have to put a ramp in it. And your ramp can be as high as you want it to be. I am actually going to make a change in the way that I made my ramp earlier because I used a full-on 1x6 up there, and I don't want to. So what I'm going to do is, because remember, always keep your scraps. I don't know if this ramp is going to be long enough. I'd like it to be longer than that. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a ramp. I'm going to make this one out of scrap that I have. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your ramp is not really high up in the aspect of where the skeleton, because you want this ramp, you want it to be where his shoulders are, like right below his neck or the back of his head and into his shoulders. The one that I made, and the other one, like I said, was a full 1x6, which would have been it would have actually been this tall. So you can see there's quite a difference in the height. I'm going to make my second one have a less incline. So That'll help with the lighting though too. So just take the scrap, nail it down, staple it down a couple of times. Make sure you still got staples, and then staple it to your 2x4. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. Don't get all artsy-fartsy with it. So now I'm going to put this back together. I had it all together, as you saw in the first part, and then I had to rip it all apart. And it was easier to rip apart the back than the front. So, because now when I put the skeleton, because you can put the skeleton in after you've broken the pieces. It actually might, you know what? I'm going to do that now actually as well. So we're going to change. I'm literally changing up how I did this the first time. So, I have a large amount of curtain material from my dad when he used to work at a place called Stagecraft. And they gave me this big old bolt of black theater curtain. I actually think it's flame retardant too, so safety first, you know? I have so much of it. It's crazy amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a regular stapler. It's up here. I found some staples. I don't know how many I have left, so I'm going to be kind of sparingly with this. But what I'm doing is I'm just covering the ramp. So take one, pass it around. Hopefully we can do this again before that comes back on, because leaking, always check your connections. This is too much creepy cloth for what I want to do, but I'm going to staple it first and then I'm going to do it. So I'm going to use the orange creepy cloth. You can use the green, or don't use black, because black looks dumb on black. But all this does is it kind of hides the black, but it also adds a little bit of color dimension when the lights are not on it. It may actually catch the light in a different way when you actually put it on, depending on what lights you use, if you use white or red or green or whatever. Eventually, I would like to change these over to have an RGB underneath it, so that I can change the color whenever I want, just like put a floodlight in the base. But these, once again, I'm trying to make this for free, and I don't want to buy anything. So I will probably eventually cut out the base of this and put a floodlight in the bottom of it or something like that. So you could do that. You could take the base before you assemble it, put a floodlight down there or an RGB light source down there and attach it to the bottom of it. And then have your cord come out the bottom and everything, or the side and everything, before you assemble it, so that you can screw down the floodlight if you're using one of those RGB, those little 20 watts, rectangle ones or whatever. You could put one of those like a 10 watt down there or whatever, and you could probably add whatever colors, then you change whatever colors you want. It'd be the best if you get one that is Wi-Fi app enabled, because it might be hard to put your remote down there to change the color, but you could probably just point it down here like this and change the color. But I'm trying to make all my lights Wi-Fi so that I can change the colors with my cell phone instead of having to come out and change all the lights. But yeah, just take the creepy cloth and just kind of don't do all of the stapling on this, because you want to also pull it up a little bit, so kind of make sure you've got all the edge, or you've got it all unwrapped the full width, because you're going to want to take some of it and put it up like this on the wall of it, so that you add that dimension to it a little bit. So what I'm just doing is just so that it's easier to get it in there when I'm assembling. I'm just going to do that, and then I'll probably leave a little bit down there so that I can. I'll leave a little bit of excess that I ran out of staples. So now that you have that, I'm actually going to cut the excess that I don't want to use. I want to use it for another project, probably. Maybe a swamp lantern. Ooh. So That's almost a perfect amount for a swamp lantern. Amazon sells all that creepy claw stuff. They sell them in like packs now of different. They got like a creamy white, and then they've got black, and they've got ones that have they've got like a black, a red, a green, and like a bloody white or whatever, and then like an orange. So they come in like a pack of different colors now. But anyways, so now we can flip this back inside. We've made the ramp. We've made the cloth. Make sure your cloth goes inside. Well, I just realized that I'm actually gonna have to cut some of that off. Oh well. See, that's probably why I didn't do it until after. When I tore this up, I had to. Okay, that's in there. That's going to be in there all nice and nice. All right, so now that's all back. Now, we can flip this over. Oh, you know what? Let's do that since we're already at this point. I have to turn off my fans to do this, and that's fine because it's getting not as warm in here. So at this point, you can cut the top, or this is the bottom actually. I have a Black & Decker battery operated jigsaw. I love this thing. So like I said, we probably should have waited on the fabric because it might rip it up, but we're going to try our best. Alright, so now we're gonna flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. What I would do is I'd take the jigsaw and just kind of make a generalized hole, and then, make some up and down cuts, some jagged cuts, and then you're going to rough all those up with the hammer. Now you got your hole in there. And I would that's where this 2x4 comes into play, is you're just gonna try to keep it up as best you can. What I did, the original way that I did these without fence boards, was I had a bunch of extra flat pieces of wood that were just cut up in different shapes. So I cut them to this shape, and so it was a solid wood board. Where these, you have the four boards, so they don't have any strength between them. So you could go along and maybe put another 2x4 up on top of here, and then unscrew it and take it out when you're done. I'll leave this customization part up to you, mainly because I'm getting tired. It's hot, I'm sweaty. But just make it look like it's been busted out. And like I said, try to grab as much of the big pieces as you can. Put them in your garbage. But mainly what you're going to do is when you're done, you're just going to lift it up and you're going to let all the wood shavings go down to the bottom. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so, you can't really see that. Well, let's turn this up then. Let's turn this up. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So, now you got this, you got the creepy cloth in there, and that's where I said we need to get another staple gun or stapler, and get the fabric stapled back up in there. Oh, here we go. I got a new staple gun. I was looking for this the other day. Yesterday when I was making the other one, I found it. So, now we can finish this. So, that didn't really work very well. Thing is, nobody's going to see. It's a hell of an angle to do this in. There's some creepy cloth bits. You could probably do another staple there. There we go. There. Staple. I don't know if you can really see that really well with no light in there, but it's in there. So, I should probably go get another skeleton from the backyard, huh? I guess that's what I need to go do. The last two parts of this will be to add the skeleton and add the lights. Because you put that board in here, right here, which is right in here, or you actually could use the actual ledge of the light, or the actual 2x4 ledge, and light it up right there. What I did in the other one that's over there that's done is I had the board here. I originally had a little piece of 2x4 down here to put the light in to shine upward. Well, what happened was I lost some of the light because of the 2x4 in front of it, and his chest and everything was higher up on this one, so I put the ramp a little lower on this one. And like I said, the ramp is going to be your design. If you want it to be 6 inches tall, you want it to be 3 inches tall, 4 inches tall, whatever you want the incline to be, of how much you want the skeleton to come out. You might want I have to reattach his head, but you might even want him to come out like this, to where he's coming out, his head is completely out of the coffin. You might want him more deeper inside. I tend to want them inside because of the fact that then the lights will shine the entire rib cage and the head. So that will make it look even cooler. So what I'm going to do on this one is I am going to put the light, I'm going to try it with the light just on the lip of the 2x4. What I would maybe suggest is maybe putting this 2x4 down a little bit farther. This one is almost dead in the middle. It's where your apex is right here, where your two ends meet right there. It's right about there. So if you were to maybe put it back like right here, maybe put the top of it at 2 feet. If you take your tape measure from the bottom up, you've got 24 inches right here. This is basically right now, that's probably the bottom of this 2x4. It's right at the bottom. So maybe you want to put the 2x4 down here. I know that's too late now for that one. But I will put that in the notes, in the actual how-to, in the description on the video down here. And I will probably also make an instructable on this. I may take screenshots off of this video and stuff like that, because I was supposed to take pictures while I did this. But in the description of the video, I will put that down, and I will put down to read the description first before going off on every other part of this video. So maybe put your 2x4 down about 2 feet, and then make it 15 inches long, something like that. So I'll remember to write that down. 2 feet up, 15 inches across. And then that'll give you a really good spot for your light to go. Plus, you won't see any of your light in any of the cuts that you make here. It's not going to look bad if you do. Mine, I can actually see the light, but at night, it just lights up the skeleton, so which is the point. So I'm going to put the light on this one because, A, I need to get it done, and B, I'm going to probably make more of these. So I think it'd be kind of cool to have like 6 of these in the yard, because I have a side yard that I have nothing really to do with right now, and I think this would be really cool just to have them laying around the yard. Some of them will be standing up straight, some of them will be, I can put like a 4x4 underneath this so that it sits up like this. And have maybe cut your 4x4 to an angle, so that it has different, you can put these at different angles. You can put it up higher, lower, whatever you want. So, depending on what you want to do with them, you could have these lining, you could have these as your fence pillars. You could have these standing straight up and down and have your fence in between each section of these. Oh, that would be kind of cool, actually. Very heavy fence pillars, but if you do that, I would definitely recommend putting some sort of like a PVC pipe through the bottom of it, like back down here on the very bottom. Cut a hole saw, put the PVC pipe, at least I think a 3/4 inch PVC pipe, and have it go about 3/4 of the way up, at least up to the middle of it, if not higher, and then take some plumber's tape, the metal tape with the little holes in it, and it's comes in a strip. Put or a U bracket. Put a couple U brackets in there and screw it to the back of the skeleton, back of the thing, because then it won't affect any of the skeleton stuff. And then you can put a rebar in the ground and slide these over the rebar. Which you can do that as well with these if you want to do that. These are heavy enough that you could probably even attach PVC on the back with a U bracket or the plumber's tape, and do the rebar in the back. That's probably what I'll do for any of these that I set up straight. I will probably just put the PVC pipe in the back. And if it gets really windy, I don't think it really will move these that well. But if you want it, you can put 2 of them, back in the middle, and then it won't move that way. But I digress. So we're gonna go back to the lighting now. So what I'm using, and I'll put a description in the link, link in the description, a description in the link, is they are, let's try it. They are LED strips. They're 50/50 modules. They are waterproof. They have a waterproof coating on it. You can kind of see it's kind of shiny on there. These are used in signs. So like you see like the signs on like strip malls and stuff like that, you'll see when they take the fronts off, there's just lines of these going all through it. They're super bright, but the colors are not super bright. They're bright enough that you're going to see it. So we're only going to put one of these in there, and it'll light up the whole thing. So I use these for my graveyard lights. I use the warm white ones. I have a whole box of green, red, and different colors. They don't come in. They come in RGB, I think, but you have to get. It's just easier to get the colors that you want. Like I said, I think in the first part of this video, you could easily put a floodlight in the bottom, and then make it a Wi-Fi floodlight, so then you don't have to push your remote into the thing to make it go off. But these are what I'm going to use for right now, only because these are going to be on a trade show floor to begin with. They are not going to. The color's not going to show up that much anyways. So, but these ones have a little 3M tape on the back. So that's pretty nice. But they also, a lot of them come with little, I think you see that. Let's put it in front of it. They have little hooks, or they have screw holes. So you can put little screws in there to hold them into. So you find a power supply, anything 12 volt, 1 amp will work just fine. I need to see if I even have another 12 volt, 1 amp one. I may have to buy one and have it sent to me. I keep as many 12 volt. What's this one? 12 volt, 1 amp. I guess we need to try it and see if it lights it up. Let's plug it in over here. My little trusty plug. Got my little plug. Let's see if it. Let's see what's positive. Okay, positive. Negative goes inside, I believe. Hey, what are you doing there? Stop that. No, then it must be the positive is on the inside. This power supply may not work. I know that power supply works. Yes, I could get my test leads out. What fun is that? Let's see if this one works. That one does not appear to work either. Well, poop. Granted, this light may not work either. Didn't think about that. 6 volt. Six volt. This is a little big for my application, but I think I'll be fine. That works. Okay, so I found a power supply that works. It is far too big. It's one of these. That's a way big one. So it's always a good idea to have 12 volt, 1 amp, or 2 amp power supplies around. I'm actually going to try my brand new, if I can find them. Right up. Oh, there they are. So, because I am cooler than all of you, pretty sure Harbor Freight sells these now, but I know that they sell them online a ton of them online. These are solder seal wire connectors. So what they are is well, that's a poor design. It's really cool. Let me show you. Of course, I picked the smallest one to show you. But see how it's got the little solder in there? It's got the 2 little leads there and then a little solder. So you put your wire in there, you put the other wire on the other side, heat up the thing, solder. Connected. And I believe the little plastic stuff shrinks around it too. So it's a little heat shrink action. Yep, I'm going to use the white one. So we're going to have a lead from the wire, or from the light, down to here. And I actually use speaker wire. I use speaker wire for all my LED stuff. This is so cool. All right. All right, so what also I do in my graveyard is I've got these things that are called, I don't know, they're like automotive connectors, but they're waterproof. So they go in like that and they click in, and they're in there, but they also have that seal. See, it's got the electrical seal. So that's going to be on either end, so that when the electrical cord comes out of the back, it's literally just going to have this poking out the back of the coffin here. So what I'm going to do, that is a bad design of a container. So we're going to flip that over so that okay. So we're going to take my drill, and we're going to, I don't know, this is one of like the biggest drill bits I've got, and I'm just going to go somewhere, not in the, like, do it in the middle of one of the of them. So that you can get the wire through, and then what it will be is it'll stick out just like that. So you can kind of jimmy it, your drill bit from side to side to kind of make it sit in there like that. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right there. So make the hole big enough to put your light through the bottom, and then you're going to have to reach down there. That's why I said put the skeleton. This one we're putting the skeleton in last, because feed all your wire through there. I'll actually sit in there like that, and then probably the easiest way to get your light is to flip this upside down. And your light will come out. All right, so now that we have the light in there, you have your little cord hanging out there, expose the back of it. You can still see all this. Okay, good. Sometimes it doesn't come off, so have some other double-sided tape handy. But it is very sticky. I would still recommend putting in some sort of a screw in there. I do this for ones that are, like my cemetery lights are exposed to the elements. So, well, all of this is, but they're up and down like this, so the water can go down into the adhesive, and eventually they fall off. So I always put screws on those. This, sure, it probably will. It's always a good idea to put another screw in there. I'll probably do that later. But if you're in the South, it ain't going to rain that much during October, so you'll probably be good on that. So let's wire this up real fast. Connection is made. Electricity. There's my mail. Electricity is on. Light is on. I don't know if you can see that, but it's on. I'll show it to you later. All right, so we now have electricity. We can unplug that for now. Put our electrical tools away. And now we can add the skeleton. So, what I do is I never get rid of a skeleton. Never. This skeleton so happens to have been missing a head. And I have his head, but it keeps falling off. So I'm going to have to add some hot glue, I think, or something. Let's see. I've got a hot glue gun right here. Cool thing is, man, the wind stopped. We were doing so good with the wind. All right. I love battery operated stuff. So we'll let that heat up for a second. So what I'm going to do is I want to test him. Well, I already know that I'm going to have to scrunch him in. So yeah, never throw away a skeleton. If it's broken, keep it, because then you can take the skeleton and do it for things like this, because now I have a pair of legs and a torso that I can do something with later. But I also have this half skeleton. This one did not happen to be broken, but I don't have any need for skeletons this year because I'm doing Universal Monsters, so this is what I needed the skeletons for. So, such a nice day in Texas. It's a nice day in Texas. All right. So, what I'm going to try to do, I'm probably going to have to glue his head once I get him back in here, but because I still want his hands involved in it, I don't know, I just don't want to take them off. You could take them off if you wanted to, but... Oh, look, I broke more of the wood. Ha ha ha! So, I probably should have done his head after I got it in there. There. Okay. So, all you have to do once he's in, is just position him the way you want. So I want him right in the middle there like that. And then find a spot where the wood is, and you're just take a screw, take any length of screw that you want, and just kind of trying to find a place that I can actually go into. There we go. And then he just stays there. One screw is probably enough. So now the light will completely light up everything in here. It'll light up his whole chest and his face, and it'll kind of light up the inside of the box there too. So that is, he's done. This part's done. Now, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to get my little chip brushes. What we're going to do a thing called dry brushing. We're going to grab a crap piece of wood. I'm going to find some paint, some latex paint. Mix it up. I found this. I don't know what this is. This is for when we moved in. This is This is 4884718B. I don't know. It's brownish. I would generally recommend stain on these. Wood stain. I think early American is the one that a lot of haunters use. But that's personal preference. You don't want to go too dark on the stain, because stain is good for corpsing for sure. Oh yeah, this is the trim of my house. So what you do is you take your paintbrush and you just put a little bit of it on there, and then you take the paintbrush and you go like this, and you basically take all of the paint off except for a little bit, and then you just kind of and really all you're doing is you're just adding some accent to him. Make sure you get any visible parts for the most part. Yeah, that glue is just not working. No, he's fine. So what I've done, let me see if I can zoom in while I got the thing way up here. Where's my zoom? There it is. So you can kind of see there how I've kind of, brushed it up a little bit. And really all that does is, like, for daytime, I mean, it makes it look not so white, you definitely want some color. I would also, if you have like some greens, especially if this is like an exposed skeleton all the time, then you can add some greens to it and stuff like that. Definitely airbrushing would also work on this. But I have an airbrush. I just don't know how to use it because I'm not good at the airbrushing stuff. I leave that to the professionals. So always look at it from different angles to make sure you're getting places that you would not necessarily see. But also, because you did some cuts in here, I would also take some of this. I mean, it's the same color, this brown, and and just kind of soften it up a little bit so it's not so stark. But that's, again, personal preference. Also with dry brushing, don't keep doing it. If it looks done and you're like, I should probably put a little bit more right there, or a little bit more right there. I mean, it's fine to double check yourself and make sure you're getting all the spots, but the more dry brushing you do, the more you're just painting it. So there is a point where it's too much. So this guy is done, 100% done. I want his hand, and I got the heat gun out, so that's good. I want his hand to look like it's coming up over the edge of this and holding it. So to do that, you need a spray bottle of water and a heat gun. And what the spray bottle does is the spray bottle sets the plastic faster than just letting it dry. Letting it dry, it'll actually kind of come back to its original shape. So we're going to make it be the other. So what I want to do is I want to hold his hand right here, because I'm actually going to screw his hand in there. Actually, I should probably do that first. Let me do that first. Turn off my thing. Let's do that first. Let's grab a screw. So I am actually going to screw right through his hand. Only because I am going to dry brush over it. And like I said, this is kind of a quick job than anything else. Also, that really adds to the realism. Granted, that's smoking. But see, that looks a lot better now that his hand... So I got to do something with his eye there. But you can see... Why is this not doing this? There we go. Ooh, okay, how about not? So you can see how now it's completely covering, it's grabbing on to the lid, which is what I wanted. I gotta fix his eyes a little bit there. And as as with anything, if you're adding black paint to something that already has black paint, you want to add it all around it. You don't just want to cover the spot that you're trying to cover, because that's not maybe they're black. Now his eyes are black as the night is dark. So, now this one's done. Boom. 2 coffin skeletons, or skeleton coffins, or I don't know if you want to call these ground breakers. I mean, they kind of are. They're, but they're just 4-foot coffins. 4-foot fence board coffins. There you go. So find yourself some fence boards and a skeleton and some creepy cloth and some, a couple 2x4 pieces that came with the fence panels. Actually, if you find the fence panels, you'll have everything you need. But yeah, you could probably make one of these out of an 8-foot fence panel. There you go. 4-foot coffins. Fence panel coffins. Thanks for watching this extremely terrible how-to. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions on this, please message me on either the Scare Hollow YouTube page or Troy Scare Hollow on Facebook or the Scare Hollow Facebook page. We're also on TikTok. We're on Twitter. All that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Boom. So, actually, the first iteration of this is on my TikTok page. It's the one it's pinned to the top. It's got the most views, like 12,000 views. I'm viral. And it has, it's a very quick version of this. I literally just took the videos really, really quick to show kind of a really quick version of how to do it. But that was with full pieces of wood. That was not with fence panels. So, fence boards. So, many ways to do this. So, haunt on.